Hey guys, it's been a while since Bianca and I have talked about our Planet of the Apes retrospective, but well worth the wait because now time to wrap things up with the trilogy. And hey, wait, we get to see your face today.
My face. I figured to me it always felt weird that that I was like this while we were talking recording about like movies or whatever, and I'm like I should
Right?
do live for these movie reviews since
Yeah,
I'm
it's one thing
since
to
I
do it
show
when
my face.
it's one thing when we're doing the pro teachers do it, where it's mostly me going over it and you're reacting to it. But yeah, talking about movies, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I can't say the Matt Reeves trilogy because he only did two of the three, but the reboot trilogy. Talk about something that came right out of nowhere. No one had any faith in it, but when it first started out, but it caught everyone by surprise.
I agree. I was also looking into like the whole like even though in the second and the third one he was directing, but it was specifically the third one where he did some of the writing.
Well, yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it was interesting.
definitely. And the fact is, when you really think about it, all three of these movies pretty much make up Conquest, the last two of the original Apes movies.
Yeah, and I actually liked that.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I probably liked the second and third one better than the first
It was
one.
actually it was the no, you hated the second one. Oh no, you're talking about the remake, the reboot.
Yeah, the
You're talking about
reboot.
the reboot. Right, right. But yeah, but we're gonna be focusing first on Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which this one is the one that's the most focusing on the humans, of course, because this is where we see the apes get their intelligence. Now, I do not look at this as being tied into the originals, even though they make some references like saying, oh, Colonel Taylor and that ship was launched into space. That was more of an Easter egg. I don't think they're going to ever show up again.
Yeah, they want to do so much quotes
Hmm.
from the original. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. It was like, it's a madhouse, a
Exactly. But
madhouse.
now, to be
Wait,
fair, this is the only time we've had it as a setting where it's reversed, where it's the apes in the cages instead of the humans in the cages.
which is funny because I'm like, I think that's really good, but I don't think that quote fits for
No, it
some
didn't.
reason. I'm like, oh, that wasn't
Nah.
maybe in a different setting, but it didn't really work well for me.
Yep, but let's start going over the plot. You have James and Will Rodman, played by James Franco. He's trying to determine and to create a cure for Alzheimer's to help his cure his father, Charles, played by John Lithgow. And I gotta say, right off the bat, right was there, that's an interesting idea to cure Alzheimer's. But in testing it on the apes, we get Bright Eyes, he who would become Caesar. Um, and no, Bright Eyes was his mother. Sorry, Bright
Yeah.
Eyes. And basically, though, it ended up giving it intelligence, but unfortunately, it ended up causing the mom to, well, pretty much killed her because her brain got too big.
Oh, she was protecting her kid.
That too. Well, that too.
Yeah, and so she was became naturally aggressive.
But yeah,
Uh,
but
why
also
she left, I have no idea. I'm like, okay, like I understand you're trying to protect your kid, but it kind
I
of
don't, it's
makes no sense
because
for you to
actually,
leave.
actually no, it does make sense if you take into account that a lot of her aggression wasn't just to protect her kid, but was because the pain from her intelligence. Again, her brain getting too big because
Yeah.
it's
I feel
that
like they
notion.
didn't talk about that much about
That's
the
true.
her brain growing. Like I'm like I don't remember
I
that at all.
I might
In
be
the
taking
movie
too
they
much.
just talk about the kid. They just
That's
said,
true.
"Oh, she was just protecting."
I might be taking too much from because there's something very similar, and that was in Ultimate Iron Man's origins. Granted, it ended up being not canon. There was something very similar where Tony's mother got infected with something that ended up causing her brain to get bigger. But because much like Caesar, when the child would end up having it more natural as opposed to artificially, and the body can't handle it. So I might be adding that more myself, but it makes sense if you think about it.
I can see it. I can see that happening too.
Yeah, but But yeah, so basically we kind of get from that, which leads into, well, of course, Caesar taking over and everything. And I gotta say, if this was tied into the original movies, I would look at it saying that this was the original timeline.
I would think the same. I'm
With
like,
before, yeah,
okay.
before sending the smart apes back in time and everything.
I'm like, yeah, like this can work if you did it in reverse. Whereas the 2001, I'm like,
Oh no,
you
no,
didn't.
no ties whatsoever. No
Oh.
ties whatsoever. We're not going to talk about that one. But this, theoretically, it could fit in it if you look at it as saying this is what the uncontaminated timeline before, Zero and all that. Especially when you had a gorilla say no.
Yes, I love that. I remember that. I don't know. I don't remember if it was in the movie theater or if I watched it at home, but I remember feeling that, and I felt that again.
And the
And
fact
my
that
sister
he's the
was
main.
like, "Yo, that scared me."
Yep, and then the fact that he's pretty much, and that was Koba from the next two movies.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was Koba who said no.
yeah. And when I'm like, okay, so they're doing things
They're
differently
kind of doing it
here.
like Aldo. You know how Aldo was one of the gorillas from Conquest, and then he was the gorilla villain in Battle.
Yeah, but they also kind of changed that timeline in a way in the original too, because
Oh yeah, because
it
originally
ended up Caesar.
Aldo was supposed to be the one who started to say no, and instead Caesar said, "Lousy human bastards."
Hmm.
But again, but that's why, of course, later comics would try to say, "Oh no, technically that was always the phrase, but because it was people who were believed in Aldo's way, they changed it to remove Caesar from history."
Yeah.
I mean, either one works, if you ask me.
Yep. This is this is a movie where it's like either one works, doesn't really matter.
Want to take it? But yeah, but again, but here, like I said, this eventually, like I said, leads into the ape uprising and everything. And did it feel like it went a little too fast?
Um
I said a little, not like it wasn't like it was painfully too fast, but just like a little
hmm.
too fast.
Well, I think that with the whole thing, they had to spread it somehow, and I think the virus
Right.
was a great
Oh
thing to
yeah.
do to make it spread quickly.
Right. And obviously it was a perfected one, so they weren't affected as much as his mother was.
Yes.
Yeah, but so yeah, the simian flu was an interesting idea. And of course, we wouldn't be knowing until it goes on by the next few movies. But here, yeah, it was just, and this was the whole point of this being the rise. This was meant to be the start. And if this was meant to be just a done in one movie, I think it would have worked.
I kept getting the movies confused. I kept watching the wrong movie by accident.
Ah, so yeah,
I
but for
was
this,
watching Dawn, and I'm like, Dawn, that's the start. And then I'm
like,
like, wait
oh,
a minute. I'm like,
rise.
shoot, I'm supposed to watch Rise.
Exactly. Well, remember, Franco's only in Rise.
That's right. He's not in the other two movies.
He died. He died between movies.
He did
That was
because of.
confirmed. His character died from the virus.
Oh, okay. So I guess that would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, which was quite a shame if you ask me. But he didn't want to continue on. So what are you gonna
Oh
do,
wait, the
right?
actor didn't want to continue.
Franco did not want to continue on.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Eh, well, I think also by that point he was becoming more and more not. Not many people cared for him as things went on.
I can see that.
He started becoming quirkier of an behind the scenes.
Oh,
But also, I gotta say though, Charles, his dad, yeah, Lithgow really nailed it. I love when Lithgow does more serious roles as opposed to just doing his comedic roles.
I was gonna say, is he still getting hired? But I'm like, oh yeah, there's that movie where he's going to play Castro.
Yeah, I mean he's done both. He's been both, doing comedic and drama. But I like when he does the drama roles.
Do I
But
see him much in drama roles? I
not
think I've
that.
only ever seen him in like high movies with Seth Rogen.
Not that many, to be honest. Not that many. But when he is doing it, is what I'm saying. When he is doing it, but but yeah, though. But again, throughout all of this, it just felt like this was a bit of showing the action side to these movies.
Especially in the second and third one.
Well, yeah, but again, we're just talking about
The first one?
the first one, and that one was still very actiony.
I disagree.
Really?
Wasn't enough action to me.
Okay, you're right. Okay, sorry. It was a slow burn. You're right. It was a slow burn.
I was surprised how long everything took, to be honest. I'm like, okay, when are we
True.
gonna start? I'm like,
Again, you gotta remember
okay.
this was not meant to start a new trilogy or anything. This was meant to be at least a done in one. And even then, if I recall right, it wasn't originally supposed to be an ape movie, Planet of the Apes movie. Originally, it was one of those type of movies where originally it was going to be one thing. Oh yeah, it says the most ironic part of the first script wasn't even written as part of the Planet of the Apes franchise, but was based on reports of real people raising chimps as pets. Oh yeah, because there was that incident one time of a woman who had a pet chimp who ended up tearing the face off of a neighbor and friend.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like,
and originally Caesar was supposed to be evil and talked only in sign language. Of course, once the genre made it more sci-fi horror, and that was close to the sci-fi horror. This eventually became more drama adventure.
With some horror thriller elements mixed in.
That would explain why a lot of the Planet of the Apes stuff did feel a little tacked on, wouldn't you say, in this one?
Yeah. There were some scare moments.
But again, it was one of those times where the tacked onness, it didn't hurt the movie and actually did help it by making it an Apes movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, especially having Caesar be a good guy, a very, good guy still. I mean, he's good, but he cares more about his, the apes because he feels humans are bastards. And given what he's been through, I don't blame him.
Mm-hmm. But he still has a heart and, like, understands that because of the human who did raise him, that there are good people, which made me love him so much.
Which is why he would hold on to it throughout the rest of the trilogy. But yeah, once the Apes did start to, attack and everything, that very much reminded me of the end of Conquest. Now, I will say also, though, if there's one thing, though, I'm not sure where I stand on even Caesar, even though when he starts to talk, he's still not talking like perfect English still. I'm not sure where I stand. I mean, it makes sense from a realistic standpoint, but at the same time, like for the first movie, fine. I'm talking about the later movies.
You definitely hear his English improve.
Oh, yeah.
Like in the third, he talks in the most sentences, but I think it's because with the apes, they don't really speak English that much until the third movie. It's mostly sign language.
That's true, and they don't, and which I like. I like that.
I love that. Forces people to read subtitles.
Yeah. But yeah, and then and like I said, once we had the action and everything, you knew it, and it was all downhill for humanity after that point. I mean, what'd you think about Draco Malfoy?
It's a madhouse. Madhouse.
Yeah, but
I literally thought he was somebody else. I was naming him different actor. I had a Mandela effect.
Yeah, but what do you see?
Great.
Oh yeah, he was. You could just the sleazeball who's just he's a pathetic worm who's just taking it out on the Apes because he can't do it to any people.
Yeah, and he's doing it to be popular, and I'm like, what the heck, you weirdo.
And Brian Cox was great as well as it's the guy's father.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy in X-Men 2. The second movie.
I do watch X-Men 2. I don't remember much. Yeah, I remember I liked it.
Right. But again, just the very fact that something that was meant to help improve humanity ended up destroying humanity in the end.
Oh
because of
gosh, she has a
humanity.
simian virus.
Well, yeah. Well, but again, before it became the simian virus, again, the
No, I
fact it was
said
meant.
you had it.
Oh. But yeah, and all because of obviously the follies of greed and everything. Like, oh, we got to rush out from 112 to 113, and oh boy, look how that turned out.
Ew.
Yep, and then oh yeah, then you have the female chimp Cornella, which very much remind me of Lisa from Conquest. You know, didn't have much of a role here, but had a bit more next time.
Was Cornella the mom?
Yeah,
Ah,
the next month.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
remember if I remembered her name, or she was even name dropped in the movie.
Yeah, it was. It was Cornella.
Ah, what's it? What was that? James Franco's character's
Oh, it
boss.
was. Oh, his boss. That what that was. I think. Oh, hold on. Let me double check. Oh man, I just got. I am sneezing. There was Landon. There was Rodney with the work. I'm pretty no. Oh, Steve Jacobs.
Steve
Jacobs, the black
Jacobs.
guy. The black guy.
Hmm. Him
Yeah.
and Koba, I loved them
Oh
together. Their
yeah.
interaction.
Definitely. In fact, if I double check, oh, let me just double check one thing about Koba. Nope, different actor. But yeah, Koba was good here, but he gets better with the next ones.
I found it interesting. It's like, why would you trust an ape that has scars all over his body and he's blind in one eye? He looks the most evil that you can think of. The evilest thing you can think of, he looks like it, and you decide to trust him because he's an
True.
animal and you don't think they're like, I don't know, intelligent enough to be evil or something
Right.
like that, which I find pretty funny.
Yep. Oh, but I say Andy Serkis, he was perfect in all these movies.
Amazing.
Yeah, he is just. Oh boy, he was just perfect.
Yes. Gosh, there was one thing I wanted to say. What was it? Koba
Right.
reminds me of
Yep.
the
You're talking about
villain
Koba and
from,
just. Are you talking about Koba just in this one? Because we're not at the next movie yet.
yeah. Koba reminds me of the 2001 villain. I don't remember his name. Might have been a long name.
Oh! I know you're talking about the chimp. Hold on. Tim Burton Apes. That was sad.
Ah, that's such a dumb name. Yeah, he reminds me a bit of Thad, but more calm and calculating
Definitely.
and better.
Yeah, definitely much better. But yeah, though, as far again with this movie, it was a good starting point, a very good starting point. But because it had a different director involved, it clearly stands out the most out of all of them. That, and again, it's the starting point.
Hmm.
Because let's be honest, what happened, this is the point where we're still closer to humanity. Even by the end, humanity could have still won out by the end.
Yeah.
But, well, let's wait until we get to the next movie as we talk a bit more about my favorite of the trilogy, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yay! My favorite too.
We'll see you guys on that one.
Bye.